Namaste Gurukulians. I hope you will be fit and fine at your home with your parents and be safe from the deadly coronavirus. So as you know that we are discussing our SST and 8th class chapter number 2, from trade to territory. I have divided this chapter into 4 parts, and in the previous classes we have discussed 3 parts in which we discussed how did the Mughal empire become weak and company ruler become stronger? How did they come from east and become the sole trading company? How did they acquire the Bengal state? And after the Battle of Plassey, they have totally captured Bengal state in their clutches. And at last we discussed about the doctrine of lapse, according to which if any kingdoms here is not male, his or her kingdom was captured forcibly by the Britishers. So in today's part 4, we discuss how the company rule made certain changes in India. So today's our fourth point is setting up setting up a new administration. Setting up a new administration. You know that after the doctrine of lapse, they have acquired almost 6 or 8 states of India in their rule. So after this, they become their own rules. They make certain rules for their convenience. Okay. So what did they do? What kind of new administration set up during the company rule in India? We will discuss in this point. There in this point we discuss about a governor general who was the first governor general of India, whose name was Warren Hastings. What was his name? Warren Hastings. Who was here? What was his tenure in India? From 1773 to 1785, and he was the first Governor General of India. What was other identity of this person? He was the first Governor General of India. So he was the first Governor General of India. You know what is Governor General? We will discuss this in this. We will discuss it in this point. So you know that he was a prominent figure among all the English people, among all the English officials in India. He is a prominent figure. What prominency in his character? Not only he expanded the company territory in India, but also he divided company territory into 3 administrative units. He made 3 administrative units. He divided company territory into three administrative units, whom we called presidency. Presidency. Whom we called three. These administrative units were called presidency, and each presidency has governor general. Each presidency is governed by which? By this governor general. So you know there were three presidency at that time. Three presidency were three presidencies were, one is Bengal, second is Bombay, and third is Madras. Now we call this West Bengal, Bombay, that is today we call it Mumbai, and Madras today we call it Chennai. So these were the three presidencies which were the administrative units of company territory in India, and he divided in three presidencies, and each presidency was governed by governor general, and Warren Hastings was the first governor general of India. So he formed certain reforms, especially in the sphere of justice. He made several reforms in the sphere of justice. It means in the field of justice. What kind of reforms he does? What kind of reforms he did? So you know that from 1772, from 1772, from 1772, a new system of government, a new system of justice was established. New system of justice established. What was the system? New system of justice was established. According to this system, each district was to have two courts. What was this? Each district two type of courts. Each district was to have two type of courts. Two type of courts today it is also exists. One is civil court. Second is criminal court. Civil court we said Diwani Adalat, and criminal court is Fauzdari Adalat. Diwani Adalat, Fauzdari Adalat, in Hindi we call it like that, and in English civil court and criminal court. You know, Diwani is related to the land or other advantages of government which is earned through the land, and Fauzdari is related to the criminal activities like. Okay, so according to the new system, each district was to have two type of courts, and these two courts were run by from which European, who were the presided civil courts. First of all, we talk about civil court. Civil court. Civil courts. You know, in civil courts, The presiding officer were officers who were the European district collectors. So in civil courts, who were the presiding officer? European district collectors, and for their help, you know that English were unknown about the laws, local laws of India. So for their help, who were appointed? Maulvi and Hindu Pandits interpreted Indian laws for the convenience of European district collectors. Okay, so for their help, they interpreted Indian laws, and according to their interpretation, someone translated this into their native language, and then they come to know about these laws. So, for civil courts, presiding officers were European district collectors, and for their help, Hindu Pandits and Maulvis helped them. And second, criminal courts. Second type of criminal courts. Criminal courts, these were run by Qazi and Mufti. Qazi and criminal courts were under Qazi and Mufti. Qazi, you know, a type of judge, and Mufti, those rules which was made by Qazi, these were decoded by Mufti. It means those rules which were made by Qazi, these were decoded by Mufti. So these criminal courts were still under Qazi and Mufti, but for supervision was done by same. It means they were not influenced by the European district collector. They were still under their supervision. It means they have their right to make rules or regulations according to Qazi in criminal courts, but supervised by which European district collector. But it created a problem. What problem? You know that Hindu Pandits interpreted local rules according to different kinds of Dharma Shastra schools. They interpret. So this make a problem. It created a problem. That's why. So for their unity, for their uniformity. So in 1775, what was done? 11 Hindu Pandits were asked to compile a digest of Hindu laws. A digestion of Hindu laws were made from whose help? 11 Hindu Pandits and N.B. Nameed. What was the name here? N.B. Hamid. N.B. Hamid translated these digest of Hindu laws into English. Similarly, in 1778, Muslim code was also established, and it was also made like a digestion, like Hindu laws digestion. It was also digested, and for the convenience of European judges. You know that the local judges were appointed in this court, and they were the prominent figure, presiding person in this courts. So this only for their help, a digestion was made by Hindu and Muslims, and it was only for the convenience of European judges. So in 70, according to 1773 Regulating Act, according to 1773 Regulating Act. So according to this Regulating Act, what was done? A new Supreme Court was established. A new Supreme Court. A new Supreme Court was established. A new Supreme Court was established. According what act was established? Supreme Court. Where is our Supreme Court? It is our in our capital, New Delhi. So a new 1773 Regulating Act, new Supreme Court was established, and for appeal court, if we appeal in a court, so we appeal first civil court, then high court, then Supreme Court. So if we appeal for appealing court, Sadar Nijman Adalat was established, was set in Canada. So according to this administrative rules were made, administration was set up, laws were set up, courts were set up, and who were the presiding officer? You have already seen on this board. So after this, so that this court was compulsory for each district to set two type of courts. So according to this, that state was divided into district, and today is also divided into district. So in district, who is the responsible, who is the main person at that time? Who was the prominent figure at that time? Is the DC, district collectors, whom we call DC today. Today we also call each district has district collector. From his name, you have certain about his job. What was his job? What is his job today? What was his job? First of all, collect revenues and taxes. Collect revenues and taxes. What was other job? Maintain law and order with the help of judges, police, and darogas. So, district collector was the prominent figure in district, and his job was first of all to collect revenues, that is related to land and taxes. Second is to maintain the situation of order, law and order, with the help of judges, police, and darogas. So, when after setting up his office, that we called a collectorate, his office collectorate, collector office. Collectorate, what is collectorate? Collector's office. Collector office is called collectorate, and it is become a new center of power. new center of power for what? For the present authority, and the previous authority was set aside. It means so collector office was become the new center for British for new arrival. So in this point we discuss how does Warren Hastings works. He become prominent figure. After that, he does many prominent work in the sphere in the field of justice. Each district was divided two type of courts: criminal courts and civil courts, which was presided by European district collector. And the third part, we discuss how did Hindu digestion was set up and translated by the Muslim. And after that, after at last the collector, what was the work of collector? His work was to collect revenue and taxes and maintain situation of law and order with the help of darogas, judges and police. So this was the new type of administration was set up. So our next point is second last point is the company army. You know the company army. Our last point, second last point is the company army. The company army. You know they from it is colonial rule in India and introduced certain reforms, certain administrative reforms, certain new ideas about administration and reforms. But their main inclination was rested on military strength. They only military strength. Although they have ruled over India through their administration, but their main focus on military strength. They all depended on their military strength because they know that even any type of revolt can be arise in India, and if they have no military forces, they have no strength up in military section, so they may lose their battle. So their focus was only on military strength. So they adopted, first of all, they analyze the forces scenario, the procedure of Mughal emperors. Mughal emperors composed their forces. Mughal emperors composed their army. Mughal emperor composed their army two types. First is cavalry. Cavalry force, it means sawars. Sawars, it means trained soldiers on horseback, whom we call sawars, man on horse. Man on horse. Sawars are man on horse, and cavalry force composition of composition of Mughal army. First is cavalry and second is infantry. Infantry force. Infantry force means paddle. On foot. So these two type of forces were composed by the Mughal Empire. First is cavalry forces, that are Swars, trained soldiers on horseback. Swars are men on the horse. Infantry is paddle on foot. So they are expert in. What are they expert in? Archery. Archery. Archery means तीर अंदाजी. And second is use of swords. So they are expert in archery, tirandazی, and use of swords. So these two type of forces were composed by Mughals, and the domination of among these forces, the main domination of cavalry forces over infantry. They totally depend on cavalry forces, and for infantry forces they fulfill their need from the zamindars who keep certain villages as their infantry forces. So a change was occurred when Britishers came to know that the Mughal successors in Awadh and Bengal starting recruit peasants as their army soldiers, and by the training they were making them a trained soldiers. So this method was adopted by the company ruler. They also appoint peasants in their army, and they call them sepoy. It means sipahi in Hindi. We call it sipahi in Hindi, and the meaning is soldier. So they created their army by adopting the methods of Mughal successors in Awadh and Bengal, and they call it sipahi. But in 1820, according to the warfare technology, they have to change their idea. You know that in previous part that we said that cavalry forces dominate over the infantry forces, and they adopted the method. But when they adopted the method of infantry forces, you know that the need of infantry forces were fulfilled with the help of peasants. So in 1820, what happened? So in 1820, Burma, the British Empire was to fight with Burma, Egypt, Afghanistan. So in this battle, they have to fight with infantry forces. The other forces were fighting with matchlocks and muskets. What are muskets? A heavy gun which is used by the infantry forces. And what is muskets? Muskets is also a early gun who is ignited through who has a powder, and powder was ignited by a match. So that is why it is called matchlocks and muskets. So these two types of gun were used by infantry, and what cavalry forces only used horses. So they have declined the idea of keeping cavalry forces. So now the infantry forces importance was become. So in the early 19th century, so they have keep in idea that they make a uniform military culture. So for that, what they made uniform military culture? Soldiers were increasingly subjected to European style training, drilling, discipline, and their life was regulated for and more than before. But one major problem was created on making this army. What was this problem? When the army was building, when the any forces were building, so their caste and community feelings were set aside. They don't they didn't keep any type of regard of their caste and community. So this was unbearable for that person, for the sepoy, because one individual could not free from what could not apart from his individual community and caste. So this became the great cause of first battle of 1857, which was fought by the Indian rulers for their independence, and we call it first battle for independence from the Indian, which was fought in 1857. 1857, the first battle for India independence was fought with the Britishers. So this become the cause they have ignored their caste and community feelings. So this is our last point. And we come on in conclusion. So what we conclude? What we conclude after reading this chapter? We have part to part, point to point discuss this chapter, and at last we conclude this chapter. What is the conclusion of this chapter? After studying this chapter, you know that British East India Company only come in India for trade, but they become the sole ruling company in India. So, what was the cause